Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for introduction earlier, Dario. Thank you for having us here, Laura, also. My name is Jouni Ikonen, and I'm from Lappeenranta, as Dario already told you. I realized last week that I have to speak about another topic also. And the other topic, which was not announced beforehand, is our project, which is called Game Cloud. And generally, there is a problem with selling a game. If you're producing a new game to, for example, App Store, average sale for a game is about $300. So problem is that people are not finding the games. So if you don't have a huge marketing problem, it might be that nobody sees your game. And we were thinking that how can we actually tackle this problem? And one approach, what we thought, was that we can actually build a mechanism to share information between games, not just to show a banner advertisement that, okay, try this game. Because banner advertisements, I'm not reading the banner advertisement, I'm playing the game. So if it's an action game, the banners are not really a marketing tool there. But what we were thinking of, we were thinking that can games have deeper meaning between themselves? So for example, if I'm playing a Zelda, I will get a sword there. So could I actually use the object in some other game? So let's say that, okay, I'm playing Zelda, I'm getting a sword. Could that sword be used somewhere else? Well, I'm playing a Donkey Kong. Okay, there are the barrels coming down. So could I actually use the sword in there to get the barrels, press the barrels away or something else? So in this way, by playing in another game, you could actually get advantage for another game. Or if you are playing a Donkey Kong, you might notice that, okay, if I have played another game, I could actually get some help to this game. So it's a kind of virtual currency for the player, like at least how it's used currently. So you are in this free-to-play games, you very often are able to buy sheets. So you are using real money to get some advance in the game. But in this way, we could actually chain games in a way that they would advertise each other. So this could be a good way to market games for the small companies at least. So what we have created, we have built something what we call Game Cloud. And well, we are still on experimental stage really. The thing is that we have a system which allows games to store their data to Game Cloud. And the game data is semantically modeled and makes it possible to make reasoning of the data and transfer the information between the games. So the Game Cloud knows if you own some object, and the game can ask that, okay, does a player have this kind of object from that game, for example? So we are linking data of the games. We have talked to very many Finnish game companies. And most of them are very, very small companies. We have a little bit larger game companies, but most of the game companies are really small. And we realized at some point that, okay, interconnecting games is still a little bit complicated thing for everybody thinking that, okay, what it actually is, because it requires game design to come to play also. because linking the games cannot break the gameplay at any point. So you should be able to play the game without playing the other game also, of course. So we noticed that companies need first an easy approach to bring their data to the system. So of course the easy solution is say that, okay, if you need the data storage, we are providing you a cloud service where you can store your game data. So, okay, player's progress is stored, the parts of objects what the player has are in the game cloud. So they can just store data there if they want. But as we are modeling semantically the data, we can also provide data analysis, which is more complicated step there. And as a third step then, when we have more games, it's easier to get game companies then try to get these meaningful connections between the games. Are you following me? Okay, not too many fall asleep yet. Good. Okay, so we have two parts. First part is web user interface for entering the game information for the game developers. And then we have an API for developers to access the data in the game cloud. So we can store and retrieve the data from the game cloud. And the user interface there allows then user to, game designer, game programmer, define the game information, model it semantically there, and get the analysis documentation and so on. So I have very short few slides showing that how new game is entered there. So basically, user has a dashboard. So which lists that, okay, the developer is controlling these games, which data is stored in the cloud. And then there is a tab for items, achievements, events, which are related to those games. So basically, we add a game there. Okay, developer says that, okay, I want to put the orcs vs. doves game. And then he can define what kind of game it is. When it's released first, some description about the game, and so on. So user has defined that, okay, I have a game, basically, nothing else. But then we get to the then we get to the data items. So, okay, what kind of items can we share? So what kind of data items we want to store in the game cloud? So developer has to then define them. So here user can then add items. So interface which we have now is probably not anything final, but it's something what we can use to test the games. So user selects a game which he wants to add an item. Then he tells which kind of object he has. And now he says that I have acts of orc slaying. So this is the item now then which could be shared somewhere, and defines then that, okay, what type is it? Okay, so we have game semantics. So okay, the game object is equipable. I can wear it. It is a weapon. It's axe, and it has some magical properties. So because if we are using the object in different games, we want to still tell that, okay, it has this kind of properties. And then the description of the object. Okay, but after we have added the object, now we can actually access the data. So the system actually provides the interface calls for the developers. So it's showing that, OK, I want to say the source code in Python how to use this information which I just entered. So I have a command here saying game item. I'm getting the item. Lose item. I'm losing the item. And the way to ask if the user has it. And there is the item identification code and the player ID. So it's generating the database accesses for the cloud. And we can actually generate these for a few languages currently. So you can ask this on Python, C, or JavaScript. So inside the game, then user can then, or game can tell that, OK, user, which is defined here, saying giving a call that gamer47 gained that item. So if I'm playing a Donkey Kong, I just gained the axe to the Donkey Kong. OK. And our cloud now knows that, OK, the player has it. So this is experimental work. But we have talked to the many game companies who are saying that, OK, we are finding the idea extremely interesting, that sharing the information. There are a lot of companies in Japan who have done it in some level. They might have borrowed the graphics from the other game, just by developers have talked with each other, and the game graphic has been used in just completely different genre of the game. But the players have found it to be interesting. So are we delusional when we are doing this? So basically what I'm saying, are we mad? I don't know, but I think that this is something which is interesting for players, but there are a lot to do to see how players actually will react when we get the games where we can actually share the data between the games. Will the companies see the potential? Well, they say that this is very interesting, but we have to actually see how their developers react to that. So, OK, I have to connect, I have to design games so I can share the data between the other games. How will they accept it? And we were supposed to have actually one company test going on. Unfortunately, the game project where this was going to be implemented, the game project was just cancelled. So we haven't actually tested it with real companies yet. But hopefully, before Christmas, we have the first test still on this area. Of course, then we have to test that, OK, how does the data transfer work when we have multiple games who are all sharing together the data. Also, of course, the user interfaces, that they will be accepted. What is the actual business model there? Companies are asking, of course, that what is the business model? And very often, it's not enough saying that, OK, this will increase your visibility to the other players. They want measured information that, OK, how many new users will get this way? And of course, this is something what we cannot tell at this point. We need large user trials before that. And if we have large number of the games, of course, we will at some point then need some kind of matchmaking. OK, I have made a new game. Nobody knows it. Can I find other games which I could actually try to team up and connect together, so we would actually get unified marketing effort. OK, this is what I'm going to talk to you about Game Cloud. And now we will switch to the collaboration and the gamification side. We are here afterwards also to talk if you want to discuss one-on-one So you're very welcome to ask questions. But now I will give the microphone to Antti.
Thanks, Jouni. Let's see how this goes. It is somewhere here. Okay, so thank you, Jouni. We are going to continue about the actual topic of the speech, which was collaboration and gamification and their role in computer-supported learning. So, down below you can see our contact details on Twitter, because we're going to talk about social networking, and it's a lot more social and distributed media than email. Okay, the structure, what we are going to talk about, short introduction about the topics, what is collaboration, what is cooperation, what is actually their difference, and does the difference mean in regards our research. Some forms of common collaboration that can be software engineering. Some of these examples can be self-evident to you as future programmers. Collaboration and code camps, what we have been studying about collaboration in code camps, which are a type of hackathon or a coding marathon. Gamification and how it relates to collaboration and how it could be utilized in these kind of settings. Some examples, case studies. We have one case study from Lappeenranta, then we present 3 other case studies from existing research and find some common points, some failure points, and how these principles of gamification were applied in these studies. Some future work, some discussion where we are going to go with this research, some future directions, and hopefully we will get some interesting discussion about these points and their good aspects and bad aspects and problems and ideas. And please interrupt me or Jouni when he will be talking later on at any time with questions and comments. And this can be a seminar type talk. And when you get a good idea, it's always good to interrupt and say it out aloud before you forget it again. So introduction, again, self-evident fact, but I'm going to say it aloud anyway. Collaboration has become increasingly important in learning. There is a reason why you students are made to work in teams. It works for learning. But not all students benefit equally from collaboration, especially in large team settings. And students have a lot of different approaches to collaboration. And it has been found out that some types of collaboration work best in teams. For example, if you give someone always something to do that they know really well to do, and that person does not communicate with the rest of the team, then the team doesn't learn anything new. And if that one guy does something he already knows best, then he isn't learning something new either. So gamification is a popular technique. It's been used a lot in commercial environments, Nike Plus, Fitbit, probably some health, fitness, shopping games. I was going to say that it was upcoming, but then Jouni pointed out that it's already in use. So can gamification methods be used to encourage so-called good collaboration or beneficial collaboration, either in traditional classroom settings or especially what interests us? Can it be used to encourage good, beneficial online collaboration? So a lot of words that start with CO, there is a big difference between them though. So collaborative learning is a teaching method where a specified learning goal is achieved through social interaction and usually facilitated by the teacher. You could say that it's the opposite of this kind of lecture where I am or Jouni was telling you stuff. It's something that you work socially and work out things by yourself. Cooperation is similar but different. It's you could call it a subset of collaboration. In cooperation, students work in teams towards specified goals. And third term, cooperative learning, students also work in teams, but one of the specified goals is to achieve a specified learning goal. For example, if you were in a programming course, it would be not enough if you did a cooperative work, it would be not enough to make a practical project. One of the unstated goals would for all team members to learn enough about programming that they can also pass the final exam of the course. So you could cooperate on the work, but if someone did not learn in the team, they could fail in the collaboration and cooperative learning aspects of the course. Okay, some examples of student collaboration are a lot of scientific and obscure definitions, but there is a good, simple, practical examples that help to define these. So cooperation, they work on joint problem solving with positive feedback loops, meaning that when you finish a task in a team, you bring the results back to the team. They get to integrate it into the results. Maybe they learn from that one person's difficulties. Again, programming, for example, with Git is one good example, or a subversion. You check out part of the code, you get assigned a problem by the team, or you take the ownership of a problem. You program until the problem is completed, and then you contribute back to the entire results of the team. And collaboration, it's a superset of cooperation at some levels, and important things that define collaboration is that there is a symmetry of status and bidirectional interaction. For example, lectures are not collaboration because there is not collaboration, there is not two-directional flow of information. Later on, when we have a discussion about this talk, we maybe have some ideas together, then that is collaboration about developing ideas further. And one good example of simple collaboration is a Stack Overflow type of page. So how many students have Googled something on Stack Overflow? Okay, it's for the rest, it's a online question and answer site for IT professionals where you are able to ask questions, and experienced member of the community comment and help you solve the problem. It's very related to forum software, but it's aimed at problem solving. And then the original asker can ask specifying questions and comment on the answers, and then have a dialogue about the solution if it's more problematic, and then choose the best answer among the many, which will not only reward the person answering, but it will also highlight which is the best answer when other people will arrive at the same thread when they Google up similar kind of problem. So about code camps, this is an activity that is familiar to many of you. It's coding in a classroom, and it's teamwork. You can see that people work in teams, but they also different teams collaborate in the problem. You can see people occasionally running around from different table to another, talking about problems, and it's not only allowed, it's encouraged, because different teams might have good ideas about something, and it's basically a course that is only about an extended practical project. The Americans call them hackathons, we call them code camps, but it's basically about the same theme. And collaboration has worked really well. So not only these individual, okay, can I get a mouse? Okay, these individual teams cooperate, but also these different teams, they collaborate, which means work together on similar problems. And in earlier studies, it has been shown to increase student learning and increase the efficiency of problem solving, where they can distribute the solutions to each other. So slightly more sciencey stuff, a warning label. This is something that we have been working at the next step. It's the social network analyzing of how collaboration occurs or how this knowledge spreads at code camps. Social network analysis is a method where these social interactions are modeled with the help of graph theory. And also this is our upcoming formal specification of code camps. But anyway, this is one interactions from one code camp which has been modeled using social network analysis. Each individual node, for example A3, is a student, and we have been in social network analysis you usually use a mathematical algorithm also to specify the layout based on the strength of the connection and some other variables. So even if I have not specified that these people are in a team, actually so these labels are only for visualization. You can see that based on their interactions, the students are kind of automatically placed in clusters which specify which teams they are in. And
Can I ask you, the link between two nodes means that they are collaborating on a piece of software?
Yes, they have had a software-related interaction. We have been using time-lapse cameras and personal observation to see who has been talking to who, and then adding to this information using interviews.
So you put the link. It is not the student who say that they are in connection.
No, it's we have cameras watching the classroom, and I also me or some other assistant who is basically overseeing the classroom over the entire 5 days. We make notes when they talk about something.
Because this is quite different from social network, in which it is people who define the binds with other people. So I say that I am a follower, I am a friend, or similar relationship. While here, I could say I am working with him. So it's quite different if from the top someone describes the network of social relationships.
Yeah. Okay, this is how to say. This is like interaction based, and this is not their friendship. How to say relationship? Yeah, but this is their work relationships as observed during these 5 days.
I'm not saying that. I mean,
yeah.
Try to explain. I'm not saying that you should develop friendship relationship or other. I am only pointing out that usually in social network site, it is people who say which kind of relationship they have with other participants. While in this case, it seems to me, and you say that I was right, that the relationship are described from someone else, not by people direct. And this looks a relevant difference in the approach.
Yeah, it was very good that you pointed out because let's take a Facebook example. People can be friends by clicking each other or thinking that they are friends, but not maybe often have a lot of interactions. But defining friendship is outside my field of competence.
Yeah, so what has been really done is really count the interactions. So we have that, okay, list of the people and how many interactions they really have. And next step is that how meaningful they are really.
Yeah. Okay, the next...
Antti, we had a question.
Oh yeah, so please, we got a special reward for the first person who asked a question. There you go.
I can show it down.
Yeah. I suppose this is like a... Yeah, you could say that usually they have a qualitative approach to social analysis, but this here we went with qualitative. Okay, how? Okay, what? Okay, what does this colo means? Okay, we established that these have been clustered based on their connection strength. For example, C4 and C3 have been a lot of work together. But also we used the Sergey Brin's PageRank algorithm to model the influence between these graphs. It's a basic form of influence analysis which has been very successfully applied to web pages by Google. And for example, you can see that these guys form a tight core of interaction, and they communicate a lot with each other, and they have been defined by the cluster to be the most influential communication cluster. But as you can see that the algorithm places a lot of weight on people who relay information. So this D1, even though he is pretty far away from this tight, most influential cluster, he has been assigned influence because he relays data to these more distant people, especially D2, who only communicates within the team. But as you can see, the students do collaborate, but their communication network is not at its most optimal, because not all students benefit from this collaboration. And to use a practical example, D3 here and A2 here, they were observed doing a very same kind of network web server programming with .NET. They were just setting up a web service and database and basic stuff, but the platform was new to them and they were struggling how to deploy to the cloud and other things you just have to know how to do. And I observed them not collaborating each other. They collaborated with people who were sitting at the same table. They collaborated with people who they know really well. For example, A2 and C4, they were friends outside the classroom, so they asked like, "Hi, hey my friend, do you know how this is being done?" And for example, C3 and B4 also were working on the same kind of problem, and this linkage is there because I, as the course instructor, affected the classroom and said that, hey, I'm going for lunch, but this guy, that guy over there, he's working on the same kind of problem and maybe he would like your help. And surprise, they were working on the same table, at the same machine when I came back from lunch. So, in a nutshell, our research in collaboration at Code Camps, can we take the positive aspects both intra and inter-team, which means inside and between teams, can we take the positive aspects from that collaboration to online communication channels? And several studies state that code camps or hackathons as a setting are favorable to both team collaboration and student collaboration, but our previous study, in which we studied 3 code camps, found some issues in matchmaking, like my previous examples. Problem publication. Okay, you might not know the stereotype, but Finnish people are really shy. People wanted to collaborate, but they sat at their desk silently and hoped that someone would come over and talk with them. But everyone did that one, and nobody actually, walked to other tables. This is slightly related to problem publication because people were not completely aware what each other teams were working on. So, for example, these guys did not know that at the same point some other guys were working on the same web server problem. And this is related to team status. Some people are finished faster than others, so they did not know if they, for example, were already finishing interface, or if you asked someone that no, we are still doing database definitions. And this is related to problem publication. Is there anyone more experienced in the classroom than you are? And is that person free for talking? In some cases, this was apparent, like when they set up the projector to show football, so that team was certainly mostly done, but otherwise it's very difficult to know. So, and the final point, are code camps suitable for online cooperation as an education setting? That is something that we are going to explore next, and later on at discussion would love to hear your ideas.
You said you use Google's PageRank to evaluate, in this case, I think the influence of a single person, because the meaning of the score in PageRank is this: how much are you are influential in respect of the other. Have you tried other algorithms, other models like hubs and authorities or betweenness to evaluate other meanings, and why have you choose PageRank as the main algorithm?
Okay, that's a very good question. I didn't pick hits because it requires some kind of quality specification, and what we are going to do next, we are not only going to video the students, but we are going to make them feel very watched and get some way to also record what they are saying all the time in the classroom. So that way an earlier study has published the meaning scale for the meaningfulness of collaboration. So that way we could also use the HITS algorithm to put weight on the meaningfulness of the links. And there are 2 good other algorithms, for example, different kind of centrality and Eigenvector Centrality. It's a bit like, Eigenvector Centrality is a bit like PageRank, but it doesn't have the dampening algorithm. So if we used Eigenvector, it would put all emphasis on this specific cluster and less weight on this person. But I wanted to emphasize people who acted as a relayer of information. For example, from my point of view, or point of view study, these people are also important because they are kind of feeding data from this tight core of interaction into this B group. But yeah, HITS is something that is very interesting, and when we get this quality data, then we can try to apply that one. So, gamification.
Yeah, maybe I say a few words about the gamification. Okay, So what is gamification? Sebastian Detering has defined gamification by saying that, or has summarized it, that the use of design elements characterized for games in non-game context. So we are using game elements and using them in non-game context. So we are not building full-fledged games, but we are putting the students to clean the laboratory and getting points from that, or something on those lines. So maybe easier definition by very scientific source called Wikipedia. No, don't take that too seriously. But gamification generally tries to use our competitiveness or willing to achieve, rise our status, self-expression, altruism, and closure. So we are using these features to get us do something which we don't necessarily want to do. So for many people, gamification is pretty much same as a reward. So we are giving people points. We are going badges. The laboratory has been clean for 7 days or 10 days. Now you get a badge from Laura. So, and then you want to beat your record, and next batch comes when it has been clean for 30 days. So that's gamification now. So typically is that we have levels there. We have progress bar. You have, for this level, you have progressed this far, and some kind of virtual currency very often. Also, one driving force very often is the social pressure. We want to show to our friends, or show your friends that, okay, how far are you? Okay, so we might have a leaderboard. How many students have done the assignment already for the next week? Okay, do I want to be first who have completed that, or will I be the one who is completing it the last night? Antti can probably tell a lot more about this with some of our experiments later. So gamification, we want some tasks to feel more like games than something what we have to do. And they are very good to also help us to get into doing something. Get started, very easy tasks by the gamification. Okay, I read the paper, I will get a point. Or I explain it for somebody else, I get 2 points. And trying to get us into topic without really getting, well, get some feedback. The point is the feedback. I get the point. I want to get more points, then I will do more difficult tasks there. Example of gamification. Duolingo, language learning software. I tried to learn Italian a little bit. So I started to play Duolingo last summer. I have 2,685 experience points. Well, what do those mean? I don't know. But there is a progress bar. When I have enough of them, I will progress to the level. I will be the Italian guru on level 11. Well, it doesn't say yet that I know something, but it claims that I know that many words. Well, unfortunately, I don't know that many words. At least I can't remember that many words. And it tells that, okay, I have progressed this far. Well, when I have completed a lesson, okay, actually there are lessons which are hiding under there, but when I do one lesson, then I can progress to the next lesson. And when I finish one, it shows me that, okay, I got this many experience points, and it shows that what is my daily experiment point collection. okay, I want to do better than yesterday, so I do more work in the next day maybe. Those are from the separate, okay, I'm on a different level of those, so don't let that disturb you. But one thing what is there is, okay, how many days of streak you have? I have how many days? There I have done 0 days after each other, but at some point I have 110 days after each other. I had to do it in every day, because otherwise that would have fallen to 0 like it's there. So it's kind of driving my my competitiveness, my strive. I have to achieve some points today to keep that up there.
Thanks, Jouni. We have to have the basic definition of gamification, and we will go to some basic motivational factors that, okay, those are the, how to say, physical symptoms or physical manifestations of gamifications, but gamification is not defined by experience points and not necessarily even by these factors, but there must be something in gamification that motivates people to do because it has been shown to work. And not quite in ancient history, but in 1985, which is close enough, psychologists Desi and Ryan described internal or intrinsic motivational factors. It was called the self-determination theory, and they named 3 main drives of human beings that internally drive them forwards. And this has been successfully applied and described in 2 gamification studies by Groh in 2012 and slightly earlier by Rigby and Ryan. It says that there are 3 main forces: relatedness, competence, and autonomy. It's relatedness is the first one. It's easy. We are social animals. We are, well, some people, maybe most people, are happy in groups. They want to know where they stand in relation to other human people. Competence. They say that a lot of people want to be effective, they want to be useful, they want to be able to do stuff that is valued by their peers, by their superiors. And lastly, autonomy. They want to be independent. People are difficult. They want to decide what they want to do. A lot of people hate being told what to do, especially if they see it unfairly. Okay, well, clean your room. Why? Because it's and there is an external motivation factors. You can immediately recognize them from your personal life. There is orders. There is promise of rewards. One common reward in our daily life is money. You do a lot of stuff for money, but often it's not fun unless you are very lucky. Like, for example, a student or a researcher. So, then one related thing that gamification can fail, or a lot of reward systems can fail, where you punish by rewards, which is called the over justification method. For example, let's take a practical example, slightly unlikely, but for example, what if Jouni got money for experience points in Duolingo? Now Jouni is studying Italian because he wants to learn to speak Italian, and there are some probably internal motivation factors related to that one. But what if he started to get money for learning words? So soon he would play Duolingo, in order to get money, and in this theoretical case he would keep playing even after it was not fun, and he would not find interesting things to do inside the game. He would find things to do that would give this external reward. And the main point in this, that gamification has to lure the user or attract the user to do things that, according to some of these factors, he would have liked to do anyway. And Rigby and Ryan, their book, explore this relationship further. So Groh in his study did analysis of an online service and how it was gamified. Healthmonth.com, it's a fitness site where you decide your life goals. For example, stop eating candy, go out more, like learn to lift 200 kilo weights, whatever. But the gamification approach was successful, and it was analyzed based on these motivations. To start, there is the aspect of relatedness. He can relate to the user can relate to this hypothetical peers by choosing and customizing personal goals, and then he is connected and he competes against people with similar goals, and he can see that people with this kind of life situation and this kind of goals are achieving their goals this fast. Maybe you are slightly slower and you need to pick up your pace, or maybe you are very good related to people in the same kind of life situation, instead of being discouraged by being compared to top people. Competence, related to punishment by rewards. It's not enough to get points for the same goal. As game developers, many of you have heard of exploits, where you find a bug in the game and you click a button, you get 100 gold coins, then you click it again, you get more, and it gets boring really fast when you just click one button and get more and more points with no challenge whatsoever. People want to be challenged at the level of their experience so that they can feel that they are getting more stronger, more experienced all the time. And so the user chooses his base level and then can increase the difficulty and feels that he is accomplishing meaningful tasks all the time. And related to this are clear visualizations. Just like in learning Italian, you have clear indications that you are doing something right, your skill is strengthening, you are getting more Italian experience points day by day, and soon you are getting to a next level in Italian mastery. So all these visual indications support the feeling of competence that you are getting better in the thing, and if you give them for non-meaningful tasks, then the points lose their value and are not like motivating the people to feel better instead. And of course there is the relatedness. You can look at your fellows that you are getting better compared to them. They can encourage you to get to the next level, and you can see that you are much better than you can relate to yourself. You can see that you were much better than last month. And lastly, in this specific example, there is the feeling of autonomy. At the start, all play is voluntary. No one is telling that person to play that game. As game players, this might sound curious point to point out that play is voluntary. But for example, in one gamified course that failed, a teacher told students that you have to play this game in order to pass the course, and suddenly the game was no longer that fun. And relating to a secondary goal, the user can choose their immediate goals so they can choose the ones that feel most relevant and feel happy about having self-determination, at least the illusion of thereof. So a couple of case studies. In here, gamification was applied to course elements at IST Lisbon. It was 1-year-long software engineering course about programming, if I recall correctly. And the teaching personnel had this problem of low online engagement, meaning that even if lecture slides were made available online and additional reading was made available online, the students did not feel interested enough to consume that material, and I think it also might have reflected in their course grades. And they tried a very basic solution of gamification, meaning that they took what was the most common, most accepted gamification elements and applied them to the course. Experience points, levels, and leaderboards. And they had two challenge types. One was explore media. Basically, you got points when you loaded course material, accessed additional documents. And the second challenge type was to do optional lab exercises. So they were different advancement paths. And you can see, okay, there was aspects of relation in leaderboards, some aspects of competence, tackling increasingly difficult lab exercises, and being able to show your friends that I'm, well, level 3 Python guy or whatever. So results, even if they applied these very basic elements, they had increased engagement and increased student activity in these online platforms. Okay, a second example that did not go quite as well, it was in Baden, another software engineering course at bachelor's level. They had slightly the same problem, low engagement in course, low attendance at lectures, and they tried a very ambitious gamification project. They tried to change the course structure to support independent learning, and they rewarded students for achieving course learning goals with gamification methods. And this study said that the students were not ready to accept gamification methods and independent learning. But, okay, well, I'm going to say this online, so this university might get upset at me. But I think in my main point was that they rewarded students for achieving learning goals with points. So they are getting points for things that they have to do anyway. So they have to do this exercise in order to pass the course and get a degree. And okay, you get experience points, but it cannot really compare, because getting a degree, getting a job, it's, you could call the ultimate reward for students. It's what you are, well, gathering experience points or credits for anyway. So these two reward mechanisms collided, and maybe internal and external motivation methods collided in this case. And they did not have that good results in gamification, especially if compared to this very basic study that was done in this previous university. The students said that gamification was viewed as an hindrance or a drawback to studying, and it was considered an additional job that the unfair teacher imposed on the students. So it was like, play this game or else. And people did not schedule the gamification, mandatory gamification content until the very last weeks, and then they had a terrible hurry in like clicking through this material. And some students felt that something was taken away from them because there was less structure. And okay, we know the stereotypes about Germans that they like structure, but they were unhappy that there was less lectures, and they were not clearly told what they needed to do to pass this course. They were told that we have this game and you learn by playing it, and they wanted to know that, no, I want to know what books to read and you need to tell me stuff in lectures. So it had a collision of cultures and maybe a mismatch of reward methods. And okay, in these cases, the course structure was gamified, but there is a third aspect where communication was gamified, and at the University of Geneva, and they had also good results. Okay, the issue was that in large teamwork environments, the grading is difficult. I think they had something like more than 300 students, maybe 400 students doing teamwork, and it's if they write a lot of essays and a lot of stuff, it's difficult to grade them all. Or maybe you need 2 professors and 10 assistants to go through that workload. So previously they used this peer review where they anonymize the results and give them to random other students to grade. And they wanted to try a different approach to that. So they used gamification methods to reward producing and consuming course-related material. So they had this custom social media and different kind of actions were rewarded, like writing stuff related to course, and other people were rewarded by reading this stuff. And they had internal scoring, which was also used for grading, and badges to publish this the success status. But again, this was stuff related to the course and around the course, but there were also traditional mandatory exercises. So these were a bonus grade bonus that was added to the final score and not the totality of the score. And they again had positive results with engagement and level of contribution was increased, and one additional result of students reported that they were not stressed out about producing the material, because in last year's course they knew that whatever they wrote, a random friend of them or a stranger was going to read that material and judge the material whether it was good or bad. But there was a drawback, which was that only actions and not the quality of materials were evaluated. So there was more activity, more content production, but the quality of the material was not necessarily quite as uniform or quite as high. So, and finally, when we have done a tour of Europe, we come up to Lappeenranta, Finland, where we are at the start of our collaboration gamification studies, and this is a very basic example, but despite taking a cliché approach by copying Stack Overflow, it has nevertheless been very successful. And okay, we have 220 freshmen taking the Introduction to Programming course, and they are not only engineering students, but they are industrial management students, and we have even business science students struggling with Python and for loops and if structures. So communication resources are overloaded because business students are important people and they demand immediate answers to their problems. And there are several basic questions, for example, what is if, and what if you put 2 if structures inside each other, will the computer explode? And the solution was to use Stack Overflow type question and answer site. And the aim was to make the student communication more efficient. So if one student, shy Finnish student, can be encouraged to ask the question, he gets a lot of points for asking the question, and people can like the question. So he feels positively encouraged to ask questions that he might feel shy about, especially if there are like 200 computer science students reading the non-technical students' question. But if he does that, he is rewarded. And then when some efficient, for example, second-year student answers the question, then this good answer is promoted, it's voted up, it's rewarded, and the rest 199 students who are still thinking about that problem can see the solution to that very basic point. And so to sum up the methods, we have leaderboards of students who have been asking good questions or providing good answers. They get badges. For example, we do not reward the opening of the page with points, but you can get a badge for example, opening the page each day for 30 days. So you are like the master observer, and maybe at the same time you can find a question or an answer you can contribute to. So it's a method for adding engagement. And in this kind of mass course we have had good success. I have to say the platform was down yesterday night, but I can say, so I was not able to get the total amount of questions, but during maybe 2.5 months there are over 50 questions, maybe over 60 non-related questions, meaning that they are not duplicates. Almost all questions were answered in under 4 hours, even on weekends, and usually the students were competing with the course assistants because it's such a huge course. We have hired, I think it was 3 senior students to help with these younger students' issues, and these freshmen were competing about answering the problems with these senior students because the senior students were not allowed to get points. And there are about 80 visits per day. I think there might be even slightly higher on weekends. They roughly consume 6 pages per visit, so there is evidence that they click around, not only see the front page, but maybe read or answer some threads. And there are about 50 active contributors, and from Google Analytics results, almost all of the students consume, because there are a lot of students access on different machines, so it cannot be certain, but there have been, during this course, there have been 650 unique visitors from the university and student network, so we can say that probably maybe at least 150 students use it. No, maybe not on a regular basis, but they have accessed it. Please go ahead.
Do you think that real-time awards bonded to leaderboards and badges would have brought to our justification in this case? I mean, if you say, okay, so you gained the X badge and you get free coffee today or something like that, it feels more real-life award. Would have brought to our justification in this specific case, or?
Well, that's a very good question, and I don't think it would be harmful if it was not only a physical but also a social reward. It's like you get the mastership coffee cup with free coffee. So not only you get good stuff, but with this coffee cup you can physically communicate your social status, that I have the master programmer coffee cup, and then they can show the badge when they walk around the campus area. But if we gave money to top contributors, then they might feel like it's more work.
Okay, in that case you probably want to diminish the connection, hide the connection between there. So you are saying that, okay, we are there will be a raffle about you have this many raffle tickets, how many points you have collected, and we are then picking randomly one of the tickets and giving the award that way. But there is no, just hiding the clear connection makes it much more accepted, I think.
And this lecturing professor who is lecturing in Finland right now, he has said that the top contributors will be rewarded because one small amount of grade is how to say based on class activity and so-called constant evaluation. So people who are active in class, they talk, are like interesting or interested, they get extra points. So he has simply mentioned that activity in this system will be taken into account in addition to interesting conversation at lectures. So, but he has not specified any real connection between points and the rewards. But he has, you could say that he has communicated that he values using the system and he sees if you have prestige. So some starting points for discussion, if any. We have established earlier in this course that gamification works, collaboration is beneficial. So another big word, research question, can gamification methods be developed to address and encourage meaningful bidirectional interaction in intra and inter-team contexts? For example, we have not applied this seriously in code camps, and these previous examples were mostly about setting where students work as individuals and not in a teamwork setting. And my claim or future hypothesis is that yes, it can be, these three motivational things can be applied. Relatedness is easy, but I believe that because people form group identities, for example, people feel that they are part of a football team, and if this football team successes, then they feel that their personal value has increased. So could teams related to each other, if team gets a reward, can they relate to the like collective reward against or with other teams? And again, autonomy is easy. Well, not easy, but in my opinion, good points that using this system is optional. You can concentrate on group work, but with these gamification methods, your value in collaboration can be recognized and encouraged, and you will get reputation both personally and in some way feel that you are contributing to the value of the team, and which connects with the competence factor that other students will recognize their value, and they feel that they are experts on some field, or if they have solved some problem, they can publish and get recognition from the fact that they have solved and can explain to others how they have solved this basic issue. But please, when we later get to the discussion, please challenge my claims or figure out if you can figure out if there are, yeah?
Is there the risk that gamification could change the main goal of what gamification is applicable to? I mean, for example, we use gamification for some university courses.
Yeah.
Is there the possibility that students could actually think to only earn points or prizes something that actually learn something? Or I don't know, if we apply gamification to some work environment, is there the possibility that worker only think to I don't know, be the first to do some work, to be the first on leaderboard, and so there's the risk that the work is not actually done well.
Yeah, you are actually in the core problem of this thing. We want that people are doing things because, well, I want to learn, or I want to do this. But gamification, now people are starting to, usually, if you have a game, people are starting to game it. Okay, so how do I make the points most easily? And they are playing the game. So gamification can be a big mistake. So if we are applying gamified system and people are really doing the studies, well, let's say that we have a course, programming course, and we're giving points, and people are playing the gamified side really seriously there. I want a lot of points because maybe my grade comes from there. And then, okay, how do I get the points most easily? Not necessary that I'm studying this because I want to learn how Python works. So yeah, there is a big pitfall option there. So gamification has to be applied very carefully.
Yeah.
And then in work environment also, if we are recording how people are, okay, you're getting points, how fast did you do something? This is very fast, this is this. Big brother is watching effect. Okay, management wants to know how long did I spend time doing this thing. And very quickly we have a lot of unhappy workers.
Yeah, for example, like in this previous example where playing was mandatory and you finished the course by playing the game, then students felt that it was unfair reward system and that playing the game was imposed on them. So you have to be really careful when designing the reward system, and some of these guidelines can help, but it's still a field where this is explored a lot. So in conclusion, collaboration has been shown to be beneficial. Gamification has been shown to work in some online education settings and at least in some cases to increase content consumption, content production, if not necessarily content quality, and increase engagement. And the next interesting things that we are going to look at is that how could gamification and game design elements be applied to further advance, to encourage meaningful online collaboration directly between students and between students' teams in these code camp style of settings. So let's discuss, and if you have this spirit escalier, which means you have the great idea in the when you are walking downstairs, please tweet. We will also publish these slides on Twitter.